quiet on the set, please. I'm talented.
Don't forget, I'm Drew.
Okay. Is JFK still dead? Oh, pardon me, we're shooting something. Hello, I'm Drew Lane talking to this fake mic to tell you how dangerous bullshit news is for your health. Listen to Charlie LeDuff, the No Bullshit News Hour. Can we do that again? I'll beat it. That's why I'm taking my glasses off like crack.
Nana 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 nana
Na 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 na
na na na na na na na na. Nana 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 nana.
Second dose. No bullshit.
Just feel free to go, Bobby.
No bullshit. No bullshit.
Hold on, let's just did breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
No bullshit.
Na 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 na. No bullshit!
No bullshit.
No bullshit. The No Bullshit News Hour, Facebook Live is brought to you by American Coney Island, the original chili dog made and created in downtown Detroit. Cater your next event or send a Coney kit to a friend anywhere in the United States. Just go to AmericanConeyIsland.com. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Charlie.
Mannequin. Yep. Okay, listen. Let's get. We got a very full show today. Like update from the strike line up in Flint. We have an update on the murdered house of the state representative. But I want to get right to this. This is very near and dear to me. I want to introduce Chris Hedges. He's a journalist, a philosopher, an ordained minister. He's a former war correspondent who covered war in the Balkans, Latin America, and the Middle East. He is the host of On Contact on RT Television and the author of 15 books, I believe, including a classic, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning. I mean, it is a classic. It is one of the greatest nonfiction books I have ever read. He's also an old friend from the New York Times. Are you with us, Chris?
I am, Charlie.
Thanks, brother. I know you're on the way to the airport and you're in the car, so thanks for taking the time because
Sure.
for me, this show, I'm sure you don't listen to it because you're a man of the globe, but I've been wanting to have you on, but this week's very important because Trump's decided to pull American forces. There weren't many of them, but he wants to pull them out of northern Iraq and Syria, sort of let the Turks come in. When I covered the Iraq war, my fixers were the Kurds. You, probably more than anybody I know in this world, knows and lived and experienced and felt the pain and the hurt and the humanity of war. What do you make of that move?
Well, it's part of a long historical betrayal of the Kurds. I mean, if you go back to the breakup of the Ottoman Empire, the Kurds, there are about 35 million Kurds, and they live in, although their region is contiguous, it's broken up by the borders of Turkey, Iraq, Syria, Iran, and Armenia. And they were promised their own state, and then they were betrayed in the Treaty of Lausanne in 1922 when the Allies carved up the Middle East into spheres of influence and essentially cut the Kurdish areas up. So you've had a few moments in history when the Kurds, and we see this right now, have created kind of fledgling Kurdish states out of the chaos of war. This happened in 1920. It happened at the end of World War II in 1946. It happened with the withdrawal of Iraqi forces in the northern part of Iraq. And what the latest iteration of this is that the American government in particular has armed and trained the Kurdish forces to fight ISIS in northern Syria. And this, of course, has angered and upset the Turks because there's that area has a 100-kilometer, about 60-mile border with Turkey, and the Turks, honestly, some justification, say that the arms are seeping over into the Kurds in southeastern Turkey, who for the last 4 years after the breakdown of a ceasefire have once again been waging an insurgency against Turkish authority that have left thousands of dead. And so what they've done, or what they say they're doing, is going in there, and it is the bizarre spectacle of a U.S. allied country, NATO country, Turkey, challenging Syrian forces who are also allied with the United States, and they want to create a buffer zone. Basically, they want to take that 60-mile border. They say they want to push 30 kilometers back. That's about 24 miles or something back to prevent any kind of trafficking of weapons or fighters back and forth across that border. But what it's done is thrown a huge kind of monkey wrench into a very volatile area, and the decimation of those Kurdish forces. Remember, they have about 10 or 20,000 captured ISIS fighters and their families. It really has the potential to once again create a vacuum that ISIS can fill. It definitely is going to create a refugee crisis. Already is. I mean, tens of thousands of people have had to flee, and it potentially will, obliterate the alliance between what has up until now been Washington's most devoted ally, which is the Kurds.
Doing the scout work. They're the ones that liberated Raqqa with abetted by ample U.S. airstrikes, but it was the Kurds who defeated ISIS that we created with our invasion of Iraq.
Exactly, and that's of course what happened in this part of northern Syria. They armed the Kurdish forces, trained the Kurdish forces, and they successfully were the units that pushed ISIS out. And now, once again, you're opening up that vacuum. And these vacuums, these kinds of failed states that we have created in various parts of the Middle East, from Libya to Syria to parts of Iraq to Afghanistan, have always proved, very dangerous to American interests because of the kinds of people that have, the jihadists that have essentially filled that vacuum. And we're already hearing reports of IS car bombs going off in cities along with the Turkish shelling.
Well, look, I think it's important to say, Chris, for people that don't know you, and again, it's Chris Hedges. Just Google "war is a force that gives us meaning" and start from there. You are a soulful man, right? You are a minister. Is it Presbyterian?
That's correct.
Harvard School of Divinity graduate?
Yes.
You speak Arabic?
Yes.
Spanish?
Yes.
20 years of chasing war?
20 years of chasing war. That's right.
Okay, so here's what happened when we were together at the New York Times and this candle got lit off. You predicted a quagmire. You were sort of the Dixie Chicks of journalism, right? They pilloried you. They did. And I don't want it to be an I told you so trophy, but what do we have now? Let me put this in some kind of perspective for American people listening. The whole thing's a Byzantine mess, right? You have in Damascus Assad, who's supported by the Russians, Iran, Hezbollah, right, which the U.S. considers a terrorist group. In Iraq, the Shiites have taken power, and the only time they sort of really participate with the Americans is when we're battling the ISIS fighters, who are the Sunnis, right? They're also allied with Tehran. Now you have Turkey, which is ostensibly an ally, but Turkey's not behaving like one. They just bought a big weapon system from the Russians. So after I mean, between Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iraq, when we lit the candle, we've spent $6 trillion. We've lost 7,000 Americans. What did we get for this, looking at the mess we have today? What did we get?
It was the greatest strategic blunder in American history, I would argue.
In history? Worse than Vietnam?
Yeah, because it's 17th of warfare. Take it out.
Say that again. You bagged out a little. That was an important point, I bet.
Yeah, it's 17 years of warfare. We're stuck. It has created, it has incubated all sorts of radical jihadist groups that seek to carry out attacks not only in the Middle East, but in Europe and even potentially in the United States. It has created the breakdown of, starting with the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan, the breakdown of state structures that gave any kind of coherency. We can't forget now, there are all sorts of riots in Baghdad because of the corruption of the Iraqi government and the failure to restore the most basic services, including electricity, an utter lack of jobs. So it's a cultural, social, political, economic mess. And it was triggered by this insane decision to attack a country, Iraq, that had nothing to do with 9/11. The 19 hijackers, in fact, 11 came from Saudi Arabia, and we know that Al-Qaeda received most of its funding from Saudi Arabia, from Saudi sources.
And remember something, we never taxed ourselves for these wars. We've simply borrowed the money.
That's right.
And pushed it on the kids. And I'm sitting in Detroit, brother, okay? And I remember the brand new Baghdad Fire Department with all the really cool helmets and, hazmat trucks and stuff. And I'm looking at our guys with bald tires and holes in the tanks. And I'm wondering what we did to ourselves. Not just the 500,000 people that we killed over there, but what we did to the future for our children.
Right. And of course, it sucked resources that should have gone into places like Detroit or any of the other urban wastelands that have been created by deindustrialization.
Ho, don't call us a wasteland. We get real. Here, this is Karen Dumas sitting here. Right?
Okay, let's call them, impoverished and neglected.
Neglected will work for me.
That's right.
Yeah. And the infrastructures, everything is crumbling because all of these resources have been diverted into basically, of course, 50% of all discretionary spending. It's actually more goes into the military. We don't even know how much goes into now our intelligence services because of black budgets, and the country's falling apart. But this is how empires die. They carry out, there's actually a term for it political scientists use called micro-militarism, but it is the last gasp of empire when it makes a fatal military mistake, as we have done in the Middle East, as we saw, for instance, with the Athenian Empire when it invaded Sicily and its fleet was sunk and most of its soldiers were killed, as we saw with the British abortive attempt to take the Suez Canal in 1956, has to retreat in humiliation. That is a signal of the end of empire, and we have played exactly that scenario. That pattern has been replicated.
Are you a communist?
No, I'm not actually.
What are you?
I'm kind of a Swedish socialist.
What do you mean?
Nice.
Well, I can live with capitalism when it's heavily regulated. I lived in Switzerland. I mean, there,
nice
everybody
there.
had health insurance. There were no homeless. A senior high school teacher earned as much as a doctor. Yes, taxes were high, but everybody had a chance. So, I've seen societies, in particular in Europe, in fact, I've lived in them, where you don't throw your mentally ill on the street, and you make sure that there is that all of your population can have at least an income that is can sustain a family.
Now, just to jump around, you're talking about, the humiliation of the British being run out of the Suez Canal. Can you blame a human being, say an American, who feels his or her way of life crumbling, they're shabby, the shoelaces are frayed at the ends, to try to grasp onto some jingoism or to some patriotism because, for instance, the Packard plant here, which has been empty they haven't made a Packard since '56. For us, it's very humiliating to see it because our grandfathers worked in it. We still remember it. Can you blame a regular person for loving his country and all the saber rattling and getting behind the military when he's misled?
No, and everybody speaks about Trump's lies, and Trump lies like he breathes. But let's not forget that the far more pernicious lies were the ones told by the Clintons and Obama to the American working class who they betrayed. And that betrayal was particularly bitter because at a certain point, at least before the Clinton administration, the Democratic Party had at least taken into account the interests of the working class, never to the extent that they should. So,
and what now? It's lip service? Is that what you're saying? They go to the GM strike line and pass out donuts?
Yeah, it's total lip service, and it has been. I mean, NAFTA was a gift of the Democrats, was of the Democratic administration.
As was banking deregulation.
As was banking deregulation, as was the deregulation of the FCC, as was the destruction of the welfare program, and 70% of the original recipients on our welfare program were children. So, yeah, no, I don't blame them. Half of my own family comes from the working class in Maine. I've seen what's happened to these towns. In the town where my grandparents were from, even the bank is boarded up, methamphetamine labs all over the place. So no, I don't. I think the rage on the part of the white working class is completely legitimate. I don't embrace how it is expressing itself. But on the other hand, I think it's completely understandable. And then listening to the Democratic Party spend 2 years talking about how Russia, Trump was created by Russia. Either they just don't want to acknowledge reality or they don't get it.
Yeah, sorry, Kay, you want to say?
No, I just wanted to ask Chris because I'm intrigued by your background and how or your ability or willingness to balance all the things that you are into what you do as a journalist. But knowing what you know, which is more than what the average person knows. I mean, I think that's a safe statement without insulting anyone. How should we be looking at the presidential election here in the States? What factors should be weighing into a decision-making, party aside?
Well, I think the decay within American culture is so deep that there are innumerable forces that have to be confronted before we're going to restore our open society, our democracy. We've undergone a corporate coup d'etat in slow motion. And it's
fact.
There is no way to vote against the interests of Goldman Sachs or Exxon, or you can't do it. And we got 5 Goldman Sachs people in the Trump administration.
Time out. I got to say it. Well, you can do it because here's the thing, brother. When it comes to election time, everybody is equal. Everybody does have one, but the entrenched oligarchical interests, if you will, spend hundreds of millions to fuck your mind up.
Right.
Well, and both parties represent the big interests. They're not for the people. Both parties.
Right.
It's just maybe a matter of degree
or presentation.
Most Americans, most people in the world feel this regardless of your political philosophy.
Right.
Hence political apathy. People are aware of that.
Well,
what difference does it make?
Exactly.
Well, that's why 100 million people don't vote. They're the largest voting bloc in the country.
Is those who don't.
They don't vote. And they're not wrong. It's the lobbyists that write the legislation. They know it. Look at the court system. They've inverted our constitutional rights so that unlimited corporate cash is the right to petition the government in a form of free speech. They refuse to stand up for our right, the Fourth Amendment, for our right to privacy. We're the most spied upon, watched, monitored photographed population in human history, and I covered as a reporter the Stasi state in East Germany. Yeah, they're not wrong about it. They're not. So the system itself is so corrupt. And you know, there was an article 3 or 4 days ago in the New York Times where they said that the big donors in the Democratic Party have decided that if Warren is the nominee, they are going to throw all of their weight behind Trump.
Really?
So, yeah, of course. Because however vulgar Trump is, he has given these corporate entities everything they want.
Huge corporate taxes cuts.
Well, let me go like this. Let me just
tax cuts, deregulation, to everything else.
Yeah, that's the one big thing that's been accomplished in these last 3 years. That is I always say, the most, I think I wrote in my last book, the most devastating pieces of political legislation are the ones people never really vet or pay much attention to.
Yeah,
and they come back to kick your ass 10 years later, like NAFTA, like trade normalization with China, like banking deregulation, like corporate tax cuts. Bush did the same thing. The tax cuts for the rich, and the wars, that's when the holes in the budget start to appear. And I don't know what we do for our kids. But having said that, listening to you, you could be anywhere on the political spectrum. Let me ask you this. I was watching Trump last night, in his show in Minneapolis. Do you agree with his estimation of the forever war in the Middle East, and it is time to pull our troops out? Chris?
I do, actually. I do.
And bang! Bada boom! Look at that! Wow!
I mean, the other thing about, I obviously am no fan of Trump, but
I know. See what you got to do. See what you got to do. You got to be like, I'm no fan of the guy, but it's the right move.
But also opening dialogue with North Korea, I'm totally for it. It was.
But the way he pulled out of Syria and the way he's dealing with North Korea is not advantageous to the United States.
Well, I think Bob's saying is Syria betrayal. Do you think it was the right or the wrong thing, brother, Chris?
Well, I think that what we're essentially allowing is Turkey to invade northern Syria and take it over,
and slaughter the Kurds that are there.
Yeah, it's not a solution. In fact, it's going to make things worse.
Well,
we're not talking about the 1,000 soldiers, U.S. soldiers that were in Syria. Essentially, were put there as a buffer.
Yes. But here's the thing.
They were there.
This military-industrial complex, the generals, the promotional system, nothing, some middle ground was created. Nothing like, let's say, some kind of mercenary group, some kind of oil production for the Kurds so they can maintain their own army south of that buffer zone, right? We sat there for more than a decade with no plan whatsoever. 2 years ago, Trump acquiesces to more money into Afghanistan, different rules of engagement, and today the Taliban holds as much territory as right after our invasion.
No, they hold more, Charlie. They hold more. They hold 70% of Afghanistan, the Taliban.
And so where's our trillion? What about those lives?
Yeah, no, it's been a colossal waste and catastrophe, and which all of us who came out of the Middle East, and I would say that included even the Arabists in the intelligence community, the military. We were all in agreement with this, but our voices were just not heard.
You mean in the sense that, hey, you go in, you like Colin Powell said, you break it, you own it.
Yeah, well, we've broken it, and there's no good solution now because it's broken. So
what you think? It's probably just best it's done. We're done.
I think we've got to try and withdraw, as carefully as we can. But, we have left behind so many failed states and, it's a catastrophe. There's no easy way out now.
Chris, you're from Maine. I'm from Michigan. I love my country. I'm from a military family. I'm sorry that you know me. I'm for my people very much. But the shit we ask my people and your people to do, right? And we do it with very little questioning, not because we're stupid, but because we trust leadership. And this is how it turns out. And every epic, every time we go through this, people like you, look, I covered Ground Zero. I'm like, we're going into fucking Iraq. For what? They didn't have anything to do. You get what I'm saying? What I'm trying to do is say, I love my people. I like the people that do the lifting, and they're always sold out.
That's right. That's right.
Now, let me do this. You had a latest book came out a year ago, From America, the Farewell Tour. Can I quote from it? Do you mind?
No, go ahead.
Okay. The U.S. government, subservient to corporate power, has become a burlesque. The last vestiges of rule of law are evaporating. The kleptocrats, which I mean those who steal, openly pillage and loot. I guess you explained it right after I just did, Chris. Programs instituted to protect the common good, public education, welfare, environmental regulations are being dismantled. The bloated military sucking the marrow out of the nation is unassailable. Poverty is a nightmare for half the population. Poor people of color are gunned down with impunity in the streets. Our prison system, the world's largest, is filled with the destitute. There is no shortage of artists, intellectuals, and writers, from Martin Buber and George Orwell to James Baldwin, who warned us that this dystopian era was fast approaching. But in our Disneyfied world of intoxicating and endless images, cult of the self, and willful illiteracy, we did not listen. We will pay for our negligence.
That about sums up everything. That's it. That's it.
That is it.
Is that it? Is there any hope? Chris?
Well, you can't, if you don't resist, you can't use the word hope. But I think we also have to recognize that these forces have really destroyed, much of our country, including much of what was good about our country.
Oh, man. Okay, well, here's what I say. I'm agreeing with ending forever wars. I just got to say it. We can't afford it. We can't do it. It's this strange. We got to run for something, Karen. That's what we got to do.
Well, we got to end forever wars, but you don't cut and run.
Well, then how do you end them?
Well, you do thoughtful removal. Move back. Slow down.
A
strategic withdrawal.
Maybe a mercenary force. Maybe some kind of oil production for the Kurds. Maybe some negotiated settlement before the bombs start falling.
Maybe
that might work.
Maybe that might work.
All right, Chris. It sounds like you're getting near the airport. Is that right?
I am.
Okay. Listen. I love you, man. Me and you, we're closer than you know. But always respect your mind. I respect your bravery, the kind of man you are. I'm proud to call you a friend. Tell us before you get out of the car there, the chauffeured car, I'm sure. War. Tell us something about war. About what it does to a human being. Sustained war.
I mean, the short answer is it's the culture of death. It is about the destruction of all systems that sustain life, economic, political, social, cultural, and that effort to extinguish the other when you do it long enough ends in a desire for self-annihilation.
On that note, brother, take us out with a prayer, will you, minister?
I'm a long way from divinity school. I don't know any
Come
prayers.
on, man. Take a chance.
I'll quote Abraham Heschel. I was in New York protesting with Extinction Rebellion, and somebody criticized him for protesting with Martin Luther King on the Sabbath, and he said, I pray with my feet. So pray with your feet.
My man.
I like that.
Thank you so much. Safe travels, man.
Safe travels, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Thanks, Charlie. Oh, good to talk to you.
You too, bro.
Wow. That was deep.
That dude.
That was deep.
See, not only, that guy has one of the biggest brains that I know, and he's got a nutsack. Dude, he was covered.
He's seen a lot.
El Salvador.
Yeah.
Right? Sarajevo. Right? The wars in Iraq. He was the Mideast bureau chief for the New York Times.
Gives him a unique perspective.
And he's spiritual.
But that's it. His perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, his conversation would be beneficial for anybody who listened. I mean, it's not beyond comprehension, which a lot of times when people have all these different perspectives and experiences, they're not able to package it or present it where we, well, maybe not you all, but just, where you can walk away with something. I want to read his book, From America, The Farewell Tour.
Yeah,
I want to read that.
You want to get War.
Okay, War. I'll get that too.
I read it twice. I read it once. I turned around and read it again.
Okay, I got it.
I mean, it is unbelievable.
I will do that.
And I want to stress this. Even in this basement, we don't see things eye to eye.
Lower level.
See, come on with the fucking, oh, God.
Just letting you know.
PC already.
Clarification.
Jeez,
Accuracy matters.
Come on, don't interrupt my narrative. Some things we agree on.
Right.
And some things we don't. And I can pick out in that quote I read from Chris, people will be listening now and saying, well, that's bullshit. Well, some other things that he says are not bullshit. And even if you think the whole thing is bullshit, respect to another human being, right? We all have a right to be living here. It's much better to have talks like that. They killed him. They killed him in 2003. The New York Times even put out a statement admonishing him for talking about the culture of death and war and beware of going in. Right? They did. And he walked.
Well, I was going to say, was he still an employer? Did they fire him?
He was still an employee. They hung him out to dry.
Wow.
Oh,
You got to remember, the New York Times also apologized for help leading us into there by publishing and not really vetting that fake stuff coming out of the White House about weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
Now we look back, and all my brothers and sisters out there who served, thank you for it, really, because you're the only ones working, and only 3% of us even know you. Thank you. And what was that for?
But Charlie, we'll never resolve those things that we're not willing to talk about. I mean, we just have to put that out there. I mean, we can regurgitate it mentally. We can talk about it amongst those who agree with us. But until we engage people who have a different perspective, a different opinion in that conversation for the purpose of understanding and resolution, we'll never go anywhere.
Yeah.
Well, that's true of anything.
Well, the Kurds were
Any
counting
subject.
on this. When I was there, one guy told me, older guy, that his son was naming the man's grandson George Bush. They were so happy they were going to get some help. But you got to remember, the PKK, the Kurdish Workers' Party, when those bombs go off at the public rallies in Ankara or Istanbul, that's the PKK. That's also it's a terrorist organization. It's the IRA. So be careful who, if anybody, you get in bed with. What are our interests? And even Chris told you some of the ways that he looks are similar to Trump. And everybody out there listening knows some of the stuff he's talking about you agree with. Like the trade deals and wages and China's ripping us off and we're going to be over there forever. Doesn't mean I agree with him. But it's going to be, like he said, the Democratic oligarchs are going to go for Trump if Warren's the pick.
Wow.
And Warren, I don't even want to get into that. Let me.
Well, she's leading in the polls right now.
Yeah, I mean, 6 years in the Senate and a professor. Damn. Really? It's been amateur hour in the White House since Clinton. Right? Clinton, no Washington experience. I don't know if we want that. Bush, no Washington experience. Obama, no Washington experience. Trump.
But isn't that politics, though, Charlie?
I guess so.
mean, that's politics all over the place.
Let me do this here, a little business, right? Not oligarchs, just people trying to make a living. ADR experienced and overseeing more than $250 million in public and private construction projects since 2001. ADR competent. Reduce your costs, increase your bottom line. ADR has saved clients millions. ADR consultants are experts in procurement and government compliance and not wasting our money down a dark rabbit hole of the connected. This is a guy you hire to spend the public money correctly. ADR, honest, ethical, smart. Call Barry Ellen Tuck at 248-318-9424 for a consultation. ADR Consultants, providing construction management and IT consulting services for your company, municipality, or law enforcement agency. Get the job done right, on time, and on budget. ADR Consultants, 248-318-9424. 24. Bada bing. Bada boom.
I thought it was bada boom, bada bing.
Bada buco. It's a Long Island.
matter?
It's a Long Island haiku. Ready?
Bada fuko.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada fuko.
Charlie, what was it? What was your name on the opening? Not LeDuff. It was something else. MacDuff. Okay.
Everybody calls me that. Well, the market's doing it again. And don't do the market by yourself. Do not overreact. Have a strategy. Invest for the long run. Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth, 248-663-4748. He can walk you through it. Rational financial advice. Another wild week on the market. Up and
It
down
has
like
been up and down like
a
crazy.
washwoman's ass. What'd they say?
Understand
Watch
that.
this. And like a washwoman, right? She's up and down. She's
Do
scrubbing.
you have her confused with a stripper, Charlie? How does a wash woman?
I don't know anything about strippers. They don't like me.
Mannequin
So
Joey didn't tell you about them.
They're all faking it. Mannequin Joey. You like strippers, Mannequin Joe?
He said they're nice.
They're nice.
People are nice. Look,
They're nice. They take my dollar every time.
Inflation, it was almost zero last month. That's because people are buying used cars and not new cars.
True that.
That means, I don't know. What's the financial outlook? Call Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth. Discuss your strategy, who you are and what you want in life. Position your investments, retirement, and college savings plans for the long run. 248-663-4748. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates, Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Royal Alliance Associates is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Royal Alliance Associates, Inc.
Very good. Excuse
All
me.
Financial is Bob's.
I'm working with them, and they're doing a great job.
My man.
Call Hall Financial. They go out of your way. I'm working with Chris Pazzulli, who's a member of Hall Financial, and he's doing a fantastic job. Follows up, calls me back, gets the documents, ball's rolling. I couldn't say anything better about
What are you
them.
trying to do?
I am refinancing my house and
Just
taking a little
straight
money
up
back,
refi.
taking a little money out to redo my roof. And like I said, he's been super helpful. I completely recommend him.
Snap, quick,
In fact-
calls you back?
Yeah, and in fact, I was so happy with them. I referred a buddy of mine who works at Fox 2 with me, and he's working with them as well.
Okay. There's no better testimonial than
I was going to
Libtard
say,
Bob.
there's no need to. There's no need. I can't, never mind. Nothing. Forget
Seriously,
it.
it's hard to find a good money man.
Yeah. Well,
woman.
it's somebody you trust.
But I was going to say, you can't write anything better than that because Bob has firsthand engagement with them. So whatever you've written doesn't even need to be, I mean, that's it. Bob,
Call Hall Financial.
Let me give the number, 248-308. That rhymes. 248-308-5000. 248-308-5000. Refinance, right? Equity loan. Just chat with them online at davidhallmortgage.com or give them that call, 248-308-5000. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 1467435.
Call Hall Financial. They're great.
Bob said so.
Yeah. Now, let's keep it rocking. Last week, we told you about a whole bunch of bullshit housing nonsense. From the congresswoman to the lieutenant governor. And then... What's that?
Bullshit.
Oh, that's bullshit. It was all bullshit. Now, State Representative Sherry Gay Dyango. Are you there, Rep?
Yes, I am.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Good. Now, let me just recap it for those that haven't got to the last show. And listen, you don't have to listen to every show like it's a serial. People like hear about the show, you know, and then they go back and start listening to episode 1. Who's doing that? I mean, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but...
People who want to know what's going on, Charlie.
Yeah, but that was going on a year ago.
Feel free to go to our
So
website
what?
and download our episodes.
Yeah, what is that? NoBSNewsHour.com, right? Click it, subscribe to it, rate it, I guess.
Share it.
Share it, because this is honestly the fastest growing news show in the state of Michigan, and probably I would think by doing the math the most listened to per hour.
Let's say country. That sounds better.
Well, I don't.
In
It's
America.
not bullshit.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know about that.
Well, I do. So I'm going to step out on a limb.
But okay, now listen. Representative Sherry came to the attention of the public last week when her house that she was redoing for a family through her nonprofit was going to gift it to a family less fortunate. Disappeared. It was a who done it.
Poof. Gone.
Vanished. Something bad happened. Maybe the government that she's fighting took it out. Or maybe it was a land grab by a developer. Who done it? Who was the hitman? Well, we figured out who the hitman was this week. It was some fly-by-night dude. The police held a press conference announcing the hitman did it without permission, but that you, Representative, had been shopping around for someone to demolish the place, and you failed to tell the police that you were shopping around for someone to demolish your house, and so you, by consequence, they insinuated, obstructed some justice. What were you hiding, madam?
Absolutely nothing. And so I did share with the police all options, as I did with from the first time I even talked about this story publicly. I shared all options that we were pursuing. We received a notice on that was dated September the 14th that highlighted we needed to demolish or pull permits to bring the property back to compliance. We were waiting for the insurance company to finalize it. They just did that, and we were in receipt of that settlement, I think on the 23rd or 24th. But at any rate, from the onset, I have in writing that I shared with public officials, I shared with council members, I shared with the Attorney General, and I shared during our first conversation with the two officers that came to my home. That was the course of action we were taking to pursue quotes for both repair and demolition.
Okay, so you're saying you told the Attorney General in writing, you told
Yes.
the City Council in writing,
Yes.
and you told the police who wrote it down, and the police did at this press conference admit that you gave them the phone number of the woman handling the demolition bid process for you, and you gave them the phone number of a contractor who happened to take a photograph of the hitman tearing down a house with his machine when he went by to assess it for the bid, correct?
Correct. And I subsequently gave them the text messages and a phone number of a lady who offered to buy it. So we were pursuing 3 avenues, actually 4, because another organization asked us to give it to them because they could possibly fix it up without that much cost.
Okay, let's keep
so we
this
were trying to figure it out.
Who cares about that? Listen, go ahead, Karen, because
I had a question. Well, because I want to back up just a little bit, Sherry, if I may. You said you were waiting on a resolution from the insurance company. What was the insurance company resolving if, in fact, it hadn't been determined if it was going to be demolished or repaired? Because wouldn't that impact the amount that they would settle for?
That wasn't the case, I don't believe. And I don't want to get into that unless I review their documents fully. But we were waiting for them to determine the cost versus depreciation versus what we had put into it, minus the boarding. And so it just took a while to process it. I'm not exactly sure of all their processes, but it went from mid-June when the city land bank house caught on fire until September 23rd for us to finally receive their settlement.
Okay, even I'm getting confused. Come on now. Look, here's the thing, okay? You said you told everybody, but you didn't tell us. You did not tell the media, and when you don't tell the media, we're going to kill you because now we look stupid, right? Because it wouldn't have been a great story if, well, my house disappeared, and it could have been the guy that I asked to give me a bid to demolish it, because then we would have had to do work. So basically, let me put this in perspective from the media. So this is a learning opportunity, Rep. Here's the opportunity.
Huge. Okay,
good. I'm glad, because here's what you did. This is akin, but not exact, to a woman going, I think I'm going to have my husband whacked. Yeah, I'm going to take some bids from some hitmen.
Another analogy.
Just how much does it cost to kill my husband? And then, you decide that's not so good. You're going to go file for divorce, and you come home, and he's dead in the bathtub. The man, the hitman, made a mistake. He thought you wanted him to do it, so he did it. And then you didn't tell us. So you understand?
So I clearly understand. And let me just say this. So I never thought this would morph into what it became. When the first media person I met with, I shared that on camera. And I asked recently, on the day of the police announcement, what happened when I shared all the options with you on camera? She said the edit room took it out. I said, well, where is that footage? Because I would like for you to show it during this segment that you're recording now.
Oh, come on, Trump. Come on, State Representative Trump.
Jerry, I told you it's not their job to tell your story.
No, you were on our show. You didn't say anything.
But you know what? You're absolutely right. And I had to go back and listen to that. We were talking, and, I was in bed sick. That's not an excuse. But we were talking, and your show is high energy, and we got stopped in the process when I talked about we were fixing it, how much we spent, and we got segued to another part. It was my responsibility to come back and reiterate all the options we were exploring. I did not do that, and I take full responsibility for that.
Okay, good. Let's leave it at that. Now, I thought it was funny, though. I smell something political. The police are mad at you. The mayor's mad at you because you're a critic of them. So I did love the press conference when a chief of police has a poster board with a flow chart of the hitman and who called the hitman, and it goes and your name was at the top. Right, in great big bold letters, like it was a Gambino family crime tree, right? And they even called you top of the chain, right?
And major crimes unit involved in this
no, this was funny. There's the evidence they had from the get-go. She told them, right? Contact my representative. She'll tell you who was demolishing it. Here's the number of the guy that's got a picture of somebody ripping the shit down. And the police found the contractor, the hitman. They found his discarded prescription pill bottle at the site.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I don't know why it took 11 days because everybody listening to this show knows I called the guy last week. It's dumb.
Sherry, what do you want out of this going forward at this point? What does resolution look like to you?
Well, resolution for one, this is in my district, although it's my organization. It's in my district, and so I reached out to the land bank throughout this week and as late as today to discuss how do we meet for resolution to address. So if the narrative is that the gentleman received a fourth party quote and then just decided to go do it for free, was he anticipating coming back to put the dirt in there?
You mean
because right now there's a hole.
Who paid the hitman?
Right.
Lost in this whole thing is like who told the hitman to do it?
Because getting a quote from somebody isn't confirmation.
But the hitman never gave her a quote.
Well, and you would think he wouldn't have done it if he wasn't getting paid.
The hitman never gave her a quote, so I don't even know how the police would have found him.
He left his prescription bottle.
I gave the police officers the name of the organization that reached out to one company, that reached out to a tree trimming company, that reached out to the one that took it down.
Oh, God.
I have no connection to these people, and they want me to believe that he just went and did it because he wanted the job.
All right, well, Sherry, what did we learn from all this?
They tree trimmed the shit out of it.
I'm going to show up somewhere because I want a job. I'm just going to show up and start doing it. Say, hey.
Now you owe me money.
It's getting me hot. We're talking about trimming holes and everything. Woo! Jesus, what show is this?
Yeah, so I learned, number one, I started trying to attack this thing like I was an investigator. I started receiving phone calls on tips that, really kind of put me somewhat in an awkward place. Not necessarily fear, but certainly concern. And I started investigating. I started having my doubts that this thing would be handled properly from everything that I was being told and shared. And so that's why I reached out to the Attorney General's office and called the FBI even call Wayne County Sheriff. I didn't send them anything in writing, but I did call because I had grave concerns that it would not be handled properly.
Okay,
so
good.
Putting
So
things in writing
it's good. It's good. We're good. You're good. You told everybody except the media, and you've learned a lesson, which is, right?
I learned a big lesson.
What is it, real quick?
I did tell the media from the day one when the story broke. They admitted that I told them, and they took it out.
I didn't take it out.
I know.
Oh, Charlie, stop it.
I didn't take it out.
Charlie.
Sherry.
Okay.
You're good.
All right. Right on, madam. Listen, how's your hole?
It's still empty.
Uh-huh. Wait, what are we talking about?
The whole of Minnock, 14567 Minnock.
Don't encourage him, Sherry.
Talk to you later. Thanks for coming
Charlie.
on.
Right.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Rep.
Yeah,
Now, just real quick.
Bye-bye.
Hey, you want to call up UAW Lloyd up there in Flint? Just going to check in what's going on the strike line up there. Okay, but just is it... This one just came by the transom this morning. This one by Teresa. Woo! Look at that. Teresa Bolus of Detroit Free Press. Speaking of another idiot, this is scummy. This idiot left his cell phone at a rape scene when he abducted a 10-year-old girl and raped her. Abducted, took her, raped her, left his phone, got caught. Okay? Now, let me just do this real quick. When did he do it? A number of years ago, for more than a decade, about a decade ago, he abducted this girl, this guy here, let me just real, Corey Gatson, who was on America's Most Wanted list for years, okay? Raped this 10-year-old girl.
Death penalty.
Left his phone there in the field. They caught him. He got bond and ran away. They caught him again. He got bond and he ran away, and he went to Mexico for a half dozen years, and they caught him in Mexico and sent him home, and guess what? Yesterday, he was given bond.
You are kidding.
Now, the name of the bond is $250,000. I doubt...
Cash or, is it the 10%?
$250,000 cash. Okay? Now, I'm assuming he doesn't have it. But what the fuck is the judge,
Yeah,
Prentice Edwards, Third Circuit Court Judge Prentice Edwards,
clearly a flight risk.
clearly, and you just said give him the death penalty, which I'm not against.
Oh yeah. Any pedophile, anybody that rapes, abuses a child, there's nothing to talk about.
Fuck no.
There's nothing
Now
to talk about.
that 10-year-old's a 17-year-old now, or a 20-year-old.
And forever scarred because of it, I guarantee you.
God damn it.
No.
And hopefully doesn't perpetrate it again on someone else.
Now, Judge Edwards...
That's already.
Judge Edwards, I know your dad was a famous judge and that you got appointed to 36th District, and then you got a promotional appointment to the Third Circuit, and only when you were an incumbent with your incumbent sticker next to your name on the ballot did you run. Now, if you're going to do this kind of shit, then we're going to come and we're going to look into your record and you will be featured on the No Bullshit News Hour. Because something we love more than anything else is our future, our children. That is fucking outrageous.
It's inexcusable.
I doubt the guy could get it, and that's what the judge is thinking. But wake up, dude.
But what are bail bondsmen for? So how do you know that he can't get it? I mean, if he was able to post bond before, that the point is to put him in a position where he can't.
Can't post
Okay,
bond,
now,
right?
Dig, you know the mugger that I tackled on Michigan Avenue a couple years ago? That dude got 3 to 15. This is third year, whatever it is now. They gave him $50,000 at 10%. $5,000. Mm-hmm. His old sugar daddy, I met him. It was a really weird scene.
Wait a minute, his sugar daddy.
Young dude had sugar daddy.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm thinking $5,000. I'm the dude that's got to testify, right?
That's nothing.
If I'm not around to testify, $5,000? There's no excuse, Judge Prentice Edwards. Now, there's a hearing today. We demand. Do we, Karen?
Yes.
Do we, Bob?
Absolutely.
Do we, Joe? Yeah, Joey. So, we're not going to speak for this whole community, but our community here in the lower level demands you rescind all bond. He's not a flight risk. He's proven it.
Lock him up.
He's an accused child rapist.
Bond shouldn't have even been a consideration.
No, it shouldn't.
It really shouldn't have been.
And yet, again, we as a community and the media itself, what have we focused on? The state rep's hole. It's a joke.
It is.
Thanks, Baldus, for doing the story. It's real stuff. It's bullshit. Now, here's the thing. We've ripped on the police brass, lying about stuff and not being able to get it done, right? What if they were able to get it done?
We give them props.
Yeah, but then where it's going to go? The jail is overfull, right? The oligarchs, now, hey, Hedges, I hope you listen to the show, stole hundreds of millions of dollars and we bulldozed it.
Yeah.
The prosecutor needs a tied-up, slam-dunk case, or they're not going to try it because there's no room at the inn. And in the cases where we do convict, there's no room in the prison system, and they're letting people out that are dangerous, misbehaved in prison. People like this guy. You better hope the police don't do their job because we can't get a goddamn thing straight in this state. Not a goddamn thing straight. This guy, it's a 10-year-old.
In jail.
If he does post bond and gets out, the only thing I can hope for is street justice.
Yeah.
Whom?
Him.
What about dude let him out?
Yeah, well, that's that. People can't forget about that. But I mean, and that's the other part of the story.
Is he appointed?
That's unacceptable.
Appointed or is he elected?
He ran for re-election in 18,
But Charlie,
so I'm assuming.
Charlie, people remember names, but they don't remember why. So people don't do their homework. I had to tell somebody that this morning. Do your homework on folks before you engage with them, vote for them,
Vote
support
for 'em.
them.
That's
whatever.
our job. I'm sorry.
That's all of our
I'm
responsibility.
sorry.
That's all of our responsibility, Charlie.
People don't vote anyway. Yeah. The media, the press's job is to do the homework and present it.
That's part of
in
it.
a consumable way.
That's part
That's
of
most of it.
That's part of it,
That's
Charlie.
most of
well,
it.
we have to assume some of that liability as well.
That's
We do.
most of it. When the press dies, so does democracy.
All right.
For sure.
I'm sorry. Who's going to look up, come on, I don't even know. I don't vote on people I don't know.
The first thing I do for anybody, anything, if I have a meeting with them, I'm Googling that person. I'm going to do what I can do to figure out who
Who'd
they
you
are.
vote for the Board of Regents for Michigan State University? Man, I look at that
I'll
shit
tell
and
you
go,
who I didn't vote
you
for.
get a vote for that?
I'll tell you who I didn't vote for.
Who's that?
Duggan's son's name was on there.
Really?
Yes.
You mean Mayor of Detroit?
Yes.
You mean Little Eddie? What's Little Eddie's name?
But I'm
What's
telling you,
Little Eddie accomplished?
Well, because that's part of the strategy of positioning people where that expands his influence.
You mean Eddie Hunter Duggan?
Hunter.
Eddie Hunter Biden Duggan? Oh, come on.
Well, I mean, people have very short political memories around here. They don't look at who is placed to run against someone. It's just a lot. That's another conversation.
You want to make a bet? You want to bet?
Sure.
Okay, go to mybookie.com. Nothing else like the NFL, and there's no better way to make games.
I thought it was going somewhere
And the wager a little dough.
Who knew?
Go to mybookie.ag. No one gives you more ways to win. MyBookie's got the fastest payouts and better lines than any other sports book. I wonder if I can take a bet if that judge is going to rescind the bond.
Be long odds, probably.
Hey,
But
Chicken
Charlie,
Joe's got
who's
something to
even
do.
Who's even paying attention to that, Charlie? That's what I'm saying. People.
Well, the newspaper did.
Okay, but okay.
It's an important job. That's why I donated my life to it.
It is important, Charlie, but you've got to look at the fact that it's changing. I mean, there was a survey.
Wait a minute, you're getting in the middle of this.
All right, I'm
all
sorry.
I mean,
Go
geez, oh,
ahead.
peace with the survey.
I'm sorry.
Don't forget, who you're betting with is just as important as who you're betting on, and mybookie.ag is the best in the business. If you're the kind of person who likes to bet a little and win a lot, try the parlay. right? That means the Monday night game and the Thursday night game, you put them together, you win them both, you get better odds. If all your picks come through, you multiply the winnings. That's all that means. The NFL season is the best time of year. You join now, and MyBookie will double your first deposit. Use promo code NOBS to activate the offer. That's promo code NOBS. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid.
I'm going to bet something this weekend, Charlie.
Are you?
I am,
So
just for the heck of it. And I'm going to let you know how that went. If I come in here with a gift for everybody next time,
And
you
we'll
know I
know.
won.
So wait a minute. Okay, so is it Monday night? The Packers are playing the Lions?
The Lions, yeah, Monday.
On Monday?
Night. Yep.
What?
You
I
don't-
want to win, Charlie.
Well, then you bet the
You're-
Packers.
That's smart.
You
I
can
don't know anything about football. I'm
This is what you can do. Look, you
can.
can just bet simply
am.
who wins.
I am going to bet something.
They also give you a line, like odds. Like
Okay.
they'll give you the Lions plus 3 points added on to the final
Spread?
score.
Okay.
Oh, the spread. Look at that. Is Sherry on the line? Was that right?
Charlie.
You can do this. Like if it doesn't look right, okay. Oh man, they're not going to make the spread. I bet on. You can go at halftime and make a bet, and switch teams. Can do all that.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to see how this works. I'm going to be the Bob for bookie.com. I'm
And
going
what
to
is,
check it
right
out.
on.
what is the no BS? That's the code.
Right, that's the code.
So you can get double the money.
That's the code.
So if you put down $1,000, you get $2,000.
Put 1,000 in. Put no BS in the promo code.
You get
Your
two-
account will now.
So
say
is it no
2,000.
BS or no BS news?
No BS.
No BS.
NOBS.
I got that. All right, I'm going to do that.
Okay. Well, you want to know what is BS? God, it's good. Is this strike?
Yeah, how long has it been now? It's over a month.
Let's find out. Hey, UAW Lloyd, you on the line?
Yes, sir.
How are you, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Real good. It's Lloyd Hemingway, who works up at Flint. Where do you work, at the Chevy sheet metal fabricating plant?
Yes, Chevy Metal Fab.
And that's basically that whole truck assembly, that whole big complex on Bristol Road up there in Flint, yeah?
Yes, sir.
All right, real quick, Lloyd. What do you do? How long you been working for General Motors?
I've been there 43 and a half years,
Wow.
and I'm a journeyman tool and die maker.
So you're the guy. You're the expensive, well-paid, well-trained,
Skilled trades guy.
skilled guy. You're
Yes,
the
sir.
guy, right?
Yes, sir.
You're the guy we
One of
love,
them.
and you're also the guy we say makes too much money.
Well, of course.
Why do they just always just say that about working people? They don't say that about
Yeah.
Mary Barra.
No, they don't.
Well, that's true. But I tell you what, you'd have to walk a mile in someone else's shoes before you actually say that.
Let me write that down.
There's
That you're overpaid.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's right. Now listen. Okay, so Lloyd, brass tacks.
Yes, sir.
The guy
Yep.
spent his life in the plant doing God's work, real work. What is a tool and die maker? What is that? Tool and die.
Okay, all of the a die makes your car parts, your hoods, your fenders, all of your small components. We build those dies and those tools, and we maintain them, and that's what a die maker does.
So he makes the mold that stamps that sheet of metal into a fender.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
You take a flat piece of metal, and when you're done, it goes through 4 different dies, and you have a car hood.
It
or a
also
car
does this.
fender.
You're also the guys that you create the machine that cuts the hole in the panel where the car lock's going to go, and it has to be precise. So
All of that.
all of that.
Yes.
Like basically, you're the brains behind that robot stuff.
Right.
Wow. So we're talking to a sophisticated guy. Now okay, so Lloyd, it's been about a month now, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so look, break it down for the regular folks. We just got a couple minutes. We'll have you back on as this goes on, or hopefully it doesn't. What is this really about? Just give me 1 or 2 things that rank and file's unhappy with, and just keep it simple.
Right. I think the biggest thing is the 2-tier workers, the young guys who make $15 an hour, do the same job as someone beside them making $30 an hour. And that's not what the union is about. equal pay for equal work is the way it should be. And that's one of the big sticking points there. And there's some other minor stuff, but
that's the big daddy.
I think so. In a nutshell, yeah.
So, what you're saying is, during that bankruptcy, the UAW acceded to that, said, okay, well, let's use temp workers, get back on our feet. And now it looks to be they want to man all their factories with cheap temporary workers and get rid of guys like you?
Yeah, not so much. It'd be production people on the line mainly.
Right, because you're a tool and die guy.
But that's yes, basically that's what they want to do. We help them get on their feet with the assumption that they would revert back to equal pay for equal work, and now General Motors doesn't want to do that.
So what do you
Even
care?
though they're making record profits.
Right.
Well, what do you care, Lloyd? You're all good. You're going to retire soon. I mean, it seems to me you wouldn't want to strike. You've had your day.
I would like to see a new generation of young people have the same opportunity that I have had, and I'm willing to strike for that. GM created the middle class. They helped create the middle class, and I've had wonderful wages, benefits, retirement, the whole shot. But I would like another generation of young people to have that same thing in America, not in Mexico, but Americans.
Are you just bullshitting
Right
me
on.
and trying to wave a flag so I get on your side, or do people actually? Really,
Why would I care?
I don't know.
Why would I care?
Maybe
I don't.
you really
That's who I
believe that?
am.
You mean you care about people you don't know in a future that you're not going to see? Really?
I will see. Yes,
And his family will see it.
That's solidarity.
I have kids and grandkids, and I love them all. And I would love to see them all have a terrific future like I've had.
How does this fare in terms of technology and how manufacturing is changing, Lloyd? I mean, it's not the same era as when you started 40 years ago. So how do you balance the change with the desire to maintain that same quality of life for the workers?
Well, you have to progress with the technology. All through the years, like with any job, as it gets more automated, you have to learn new things, and you have to progress with it. So it'll take more and more training as you go along. So you just have to keep up with the times.
And like automation, things you build are going to replace workers. So is part of the beef on the line also the number one is temps. Number two is, are you going to bring work to the United States or keep work in the United States because there are more Mexican auto workers than there are American auto workers? Is that part of it?
Well, we'd like to see the work kept in America. We have plenty of people here to do the work, but they're not going to work for 50 cents an hour.
Right. Well, come on, man. Don't exaggerate. It's $1.90 an hour.
Oh, well.
Okay, come on.
Excuse me.
Lloyd,
Yeah.
how is the strike impacting your family?
Well, I was well prepared for it. We've known about it for a long time.
That's news.
And I've worked 10 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year long, and saved and prepared for it. So there's no big impact on me right now.
How long is your nest egg? Because the couple times I visited the line, yes, everybody. The great unreported thing was everybody was preparing for the strike.
Right.
So the mood's okay right now, but how long can that last? How long till you feel the pinch?
Yeah, everyone is different. We all have a different nest egg, every single one of us. A lot of people are starting to feel a pinch on the line. I picketed last night, so a lot of people are starting to feel the pinch some. So some prepared better than others. And I would say pretty soon the company and the union, they're both going to feel the pinch.
What's the mood of the rank and file with the scandal corruption with the UAW leadership? Everybody's pissed about that. Yeah.
But here's what's ironic. People think this just happened. This has been going on for years, ever since I've been part of the UAW. But in this day and age, with smartphones, computers, and everything, people don't get away with it like they used to.
You know what I say, Lloyd? Here's
What's
my,
that?
my saying. I go, well, is that, but here's what's more serious. We used to have so much money you could wallpaper over the maggots. Now that we don't have the money, it becomes very obvious, that golf shirts and cigars and trips to Palm Springs, it's bullshit.
And cabins up north.
Exactly. Well,
Absolutely.
the ones that we pay for.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right, Lloyd, listen, brother. Keep the faith.
Yes, sir. You too.
Try to love somebody you don't know.
I will do that.
And hopefully, our progeny, our young ones, and the ones after them won't live a life of poverty and destitution, right? So
I hope
fight.
so.
Fight the
I
fight.
hope so.
Okay,
It was
man.
Nice talking to you.
You too.
You
Take
have
care.
a good day.
Thanks, Lloyd. Hang in there.
W. Lloyd.
Take
Lloyd
care, sir.
Hemingway, by the way. He's a relation to Ernest. So speaking of poverty, last week, Karen and her son, Jason, decided they're going to start doing pieces, Bob.
I know.
Okay, and let's hear. We got a little.
Yay.
This is Karen's first step into journalism in the sense of,
I wouldn't say it's her first step.
producing a story.
That's all right.
You didn't let me finish.
Okay.
Actually producing a story. Seeing as Chick and Joe can't get it together,
Charlie's teaching me.
we're moving down the line, and let's see what Karen.
And I want feedback on this.
Okay, you want to introduce it?
No.
Okay.
I can.
Okay, a little feedback. So, Karen and Jason Dumas.
No, but that's not his name.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that's
wait,
fine.
a
Just call him
cook.
Jason. Doesn't matter.
Cock and toasting.
Too much personal
Remember
information.
that? Remember that from Fletch? John Cock and toast. Okay, so let's roll it here, Bob. Joey's listening. Tech guru.
Last month, the city of Detroit proudly announced that Detroiters in poverty had declined for the first time since 2009. Citing U.S. Census data, the announcement also said that Detroiters living below the poverty level decreased from 265,000 in 2015 to 220,000 in 2018, reflecting 45,000 residents having moved out of poverty during that time. But what does that really mean? I happened upon a few stories that challenge this narrative. While nobody wanted to go on record, I guess that poverty isn't the thing that you actually want broadcast, they did ask that I share their stories, their circumstances, the loopholes and the cracks in which far too many people find themselves. Linda is a 53-year-old woman with live-in grandchildren. She recently received a promotion and a raise from her employer, a thriving manufacturing group in metropolitan Detroit. After the initial excitement of this news wore off, she had to return to her boss and accept a promotion, but decline the raise because it would make her grandchildren ineligible to receive free lunch at school, and the pay increase wouldn't cover it. Then there's 47-year-old Vanessa. Her professional parents positioned her and her siblings for success, but she found herself shy of a college degree and presented with early motherhood. Her parents continued to supplement her existence until they passed. While they left her money, they left her no sustainable plan to thrive. She now works 2 jobs, is continually behind in her rent, and sees no way out. These are 2 of many stories of people I've encountered who work and who may contribute to the stats that look good, but that do nothing for the reality of their lives. Struggle is normalized to the point where better is vague and doesn't even feel like an option. Thousands of nonprofits work to eradicate poverty, but are they aware of the factors that prevent escaping it? Those things that sound like solutions but offer no resolve at all. Detroit, in certain area, is looking better, but the true measure of a thriving city is its ability for everyone to benefit in some, even if not in the same, capacity. How do we break the cycle of poverty? If I had that answer, we'd all be rich.
Well done.
Pretty good.
I feel like it was a homework assignment.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Very well produced. Good presentation. Good timing. Clear. I was going to say the numbers were going to mess me up, but they weren't, because you could say 45,000, but that doesn't give you the level of what 265 to 225. So that was good. What I would say is this. Number one, simple declarative sentences, such as when she was presented with early childhood, she got pregnant. That, of course, is stylistic. That's me.
Okay.
That's all I got to say. That's really sounded like you. It's good. The main thing you want, and you just encounter the hardest thing about journalism, is getting people to talk, to get the interview.
Because they don't know me like they know you, Charlie. You can walk up to somebody and they're like, "Oh, you're Charlie LeDuff."
Well, to be Charlie LeDuff, you had to have been able to do it. So here's what you do. You have to calm them down. I'm not going to use your name.
Put him at ease.
Right? Put him at ease. Like, just talk to me. Like, it'd be just as simple. Just talking and just talk to me. Right?
And you were talking to him about a hard subject.
Well, yeah, and then, one lady was like, well, I don't want my employer to, I know her employer. I mean, it's just, the dynamics. And people, and this is something I used to tell Charlie all the time when we talk politics, people trust me with a lot of information. So I try to respect their comfort zone in terms of what I will not disclose. So, because people do trust me telling me stuff. So
right. Well, then, ask them. Work harder and find people that will talk them, because they obviously know somebody. So that's a good, again, you went, you did it, you made deadline. Now the next one, because you're really going to, I know you're going to get there. Because I can.
Do I get a chicken soup?
Your mind works. Yeah, but see, his mind doesn't work.
It just works differently, Charlie. That's all. I mean, it's a different thought process.
This guy, Joe?
Yeah, everybody, it's different.
See, I've suspended Joe.
It's different. Okay, and I'm not trying to put a guy out of work. So
Joe's not doing what he's supposed to be. Instead of going and doing the work, last thing he sent us was he took a newspaper article, read it, and then recorded his opinion on it, which was bad enough. But then he was mispronouncing everybody's name in the article, and I'm like, not journalism, Joe.
Well, I'm not Charlie.
No.
I'm not Joe.
You know what you did? You did really well, and that is, you did an audio newspaper story. Think about it.
But I like human interest stuff. If you notice, my thought process tends to be a little different in terms of the same things that we talk about. So I have to do something that resonates with me.
Those subjects are hard to get people to talk about.
And I hear people talk all the time about poverty. You've got people investing millions to eradicate poverty. But those are circumstances that people that are working to eradicate it have no idea that exist. And it prevents them from getting out of that pocket, that hole, that prevent them from having any quality of life. And, so all these things look good. They read well. We've invested. We're working. But you don't even know the people that you're supposed to be helping. Mm-hmm.
And maybe what you're doing isn't helping.
And it's not helping. Yeah, these people work. Yeah, they get a paycheck. So they're off of that unemployment list. But they're not working in a manner that can make their grandkids, comfortable.
Then you say the working poor.
Yeah, and I learned that the hard way, Charlie. He's passing out food with this guy who loads it up every Wednesday, and this guy asked for a sandwich. He says, "Well, can I have a sandwich for Dennis or whatever?" And I said, "Well, where is Dennis?" He said, "Well, Dennis is at work." And I said, "Well, if Dennis is at work, does he really need free food?" And the guy that we pulled me to this, and we had a conversation. He said, "Yeah, you were," and that was enlightening for me.
Mm-hmm. I thought he did need food.
He did. I mean, so that I don't pretend to know everything. I mean, and I learned a whole new lesson about the working poor. There are people that work every day that still can't make ends meet.
You know what I learned this week?
Or work more than one job.
Or work more than one job.
Here's what I learned this week. So many people are off the rolls, you don't even count them. There's the unemployment rate, and then there's the worker participation rate. Mm-hmm. You understand the worker participation rate is? Meaning those eligible to work who are working. So the unemployment rate might be down, but those who've quit looking for work,
right,
or
they don't count.
They don't even count them. or you
Right.
went back to college. That's down. I mean, that we're almost in a 20-year high.
Wow.
Now, there's a third one that I learned that I did not know in all of my years of economic writing. The disabled aren't part of that adult, those able to work, right? You know, the labor participation rate.
Why not?
Because they're disabled, Bob, so they can't work. So you're labeled
But
as...
isn't that a tiered
Let me
thing?
finish. Let me finish. Listen to this. Those able to work, those of working age who are able to work are counted. Those who are disabled are not in any statistic. So when you look at Social Security insurance, that fucking thing's doubled. It's doubled since welfare reform in 1996.
Wow.
Wow.
There are 14 million people not even counted. Now, you know what I did?
And who are not working.
Yeah, apparently can't work. So you know
Right,
what I
can't
did?
work.
I went with a guy named Gus. I'm working on the story. Gus went to Social Security to get his case going, right? Gus, I don't know what his malady is. He won't say. And he doesn't want me to say because I might fuck up the case. But he rode a stolen bike with a warped tire all the way up to Highland Park from Corktown, where he sleeps under a picnic table.
Wow.
Rode all the way up there and outpaced the queue line. So it seems like he could work. But just to help himself, just to increase his chances, you know, a little schizophrenia goes a long way. So he brought his dog Timmy, and he's walking Timmy up and down the carpet of the Social Security office like it's the Westminster Dog Show. Except Timmy doesn't exist. Timmy doesn't exist.
To who?
Even to Gus. Even Gus knows Timmy doesn't exist. But Gus figures
He knows the system.
it just knows the
Wow.
system.
Wow.
But you know what, Charlie? I'm going to say this. I don't like to use the word poor
Yeah.
because I think poor is a state of mind. I think economic disenfranchisement or compromise is doable. You can change your economic situation. It can be
Simple
changed.
declarative sentence.
So
It's
do
poor.
not. And I don't like that word, though.
Well, come on, it's poor. What are you going to do?
I don't like that word because I think that it is just. I think it's demeaning, and I think
It's not demeaning, just poor.
Yeah, I just think you're broke.
Skint. Then use
something.
what?
I don't like
Simple
poor.
declarative sentences. He's broke. He's skint.
Yeah, I don't like.
Got no
poor.
money today. But what'd you say?
Which time?
Disenfranchised.
Economically disenfranchised. I mean, or compromised or
Broke.
delayed. Yeah, I just
skint. I'm getting you a thesaurus. Did you get us some whiskey?
no, I didn't. Not today. I got you.
Thank
though, Charlie.
goodness.
I got you.
I'm getting you a
I'm
thesaurus.
sorry.
No, you
I
know-
have a. You look at that. First of all,
A
everything
good
is
one.
online. Second of all, I do have a thesaurus.
No, I got no. I'm going to give you the greatest thesaurus. Okay, greatest. I'm even doing the Trump finger. The greatest thesaurus. No, that's
Did he write it?
that was Bernie Sanders. The greatest thesaurus. Yeah, I'm going to give because that helped me
Okay.
find the words I wanted. Okay, I don't like poor. What else is there?
I know. I just don't like that word. But I'm always listen. I want feedback. I want ideas and suggestions because I do want to take a slice of life and share it on
Okay,
the show.
so slice of life is now you go get people.
All right.
That was good. So you are very capable. That was good.
Well, thank you, Charlie.
And what'd you think, Joey, about Jason? He understood pacing, right?
Oh, he did a nice job
and
cutting
space
it.
in there. Like
I'm sure he cut it right.
Yeah.
Edited it up.
I guess. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
did. I mean, I
He did a
gave
nice
it to
job.
him. Yeah, he
you
did.
didn't
So-
edit it. He edited
No,
it.
you know I
So
didn't do that,
that's the
Charlie.
other part. It's called cutting it up.
Okay. Well, we're learning, and that's what life is about, learning.
Right on.
And in order to be better, you need feedback.
And who learned something today?
Everybody did.
Judge, here's what you learned. You keep doing that shit, we'll be in your courtroom.
Put you on Front Street.
Representative, next time you call the media, make sure.
Tell the truth.
Well, she did tell the truth.
Well, yeah.
But
The whole
don't-
Tell
truth.
the whole truth.
She did,
Well, she did, but you know,
but not to us.
But Charlie, that first rule of media one-on-one, you know, that cutting up, that splicing, you have to make everything that you say stand alone and tell your story.
You want
Right.
to dance with the
Right.
devil, right?
It's true.
It can burn. And what else did we learn? War's a
Chris,
bitch.
yeah.
There's a bitch.
Try not to do it.
Yeah.
You know what you should try to do? Love one another. Talk to you next week, Holmes. Okay, Joey? Yeah. Did he say something?
Yeah.
Jam me, Bob.
passenger. We'll ride through the city tonight. We'll see the city's ripped back sides. We'll see the bright and hollow sky. We'll see the stars that shine so bright. The stars made for us tonight.